Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. I'm Yula, your anxious attachment style coach. I'll help you to finally stop overthinking your relationship by overcoming your fear of being left by your partner. Thought by thought, action by action, now episode by episode. Why? So you can experience true, authentic, anxiety-free love and feel a lasting ripple effect in all areas of your life. Are you ready to become the best secure version of yourself? Let's go. Is therapy really the best tool for healing your anxious attachment? Episode 23. Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. Welcome back. Today is a big one. I hear this all the time from my clients when they come new to me. I don't get it. I've been in therapy for years. I've spent thousands, some even up to like $14,000 on therapy, and I still feel anxious in my relationship. Why am I not getting better? And I get it. Therapy can be amazing. It can help you to unpack, your childhood wounds. It can bring awareness to your patterns, and it can even give you some, relief. But here's the thing, awareness alone does not change your behavior. So today I want to talk about when therapy is very helpful, when it might not be enough, and what is the missing piece actually here. By the way, let me be clear, I'm not a therapist and I'm a coach. And I'm also not a doctor. What I'm sharing today is based on my own personal experience and the transformations I've seen in my clients and what they've also talked about. So take this episode only as inspiration, and this is not a replacement for any medical advice. So please feel free to talk with your doctor, professional, advisors about this to really know what's best for yourself. So let's talk about the myth about therapy being the only tool. So a lot of people really believe that therapy is the only way to heal your anxious attachment style. And I get it, because coaching and all of this is new. A lot of people think if I just talk about it enough, I will feel better and things get sorted. But anxious attachment isn't just a thinking problem. It's also like a body and a really deep subconscious problem too. If just talking about it was enough, you wouldn't still be overthinking everything, like every text, every mood shift. You wouldn't still feel panicked when your partner pulls away. You wouldn't still feel that deep fear of abandonment and rejection and not feeling good enough, right? So if therapy has helped you understand your anxious attachment, but you still feel kind of stuck, there's a reason. So now, don't get me wrong, therapy can be a great foundation. It helps you to understand why you feel the way you do, unpack your childhood wounds, and process your emotions in a safe space. That's all amazing. But knowing why you're anxious attached doesn't automatically stop the anxiety, right? I've had clients who tell me exactly where their anxious attachment actually comes from. Like, my dad was emotionally unavailable, my mom gave me lots of love, but also guilt-tripped me a lot. Or I was bullied in school and never felt secure in my friendships, or I was a foster child. I always, felt abandoned and never good enough. But there was, still this anxiety, always this hypervigilance, and there always, was still this anxious attachment style that was still there, and they couldn't really shift into security. And because understanding the past doesn't automatically change the present and change how you feel and your emotions and all of this stuff. So this is where most people get stuck. They think, I understand my patterns, so why am I still anxious? Because knowing your triggers is not the same as actually changing how you respond to them. Your brain has been wired for years to react a certain way. So if you don't actively work on rewiring those beliefs in your nervous system, your body will still react with anxiety, even when logically your brain actually knows better. So that's why real healing isn't just about thinking differently, it's about feeling differently too. You can tell yourself all day long, hey, you know what? I'm safe, I'm in a good place, my partner is good. But if you don't feel it in your bones, if you have a core belief of people will always leave, I'm not good enough, how can you feel deep down in your bones that, everything's okay and you're safe. So let me tell you this. Have you ever felt like you're just going in circles, like you keep talking about the same issues, but nothing actually changes? Let me tell you about a client who had been in therapy for, I think, 5 years. So she knew all about her childhood wounds. She knew she had, an anxious attachment style, but every time her partner pulled away, boom, there it was again, right? She felt triggered, she felt anxious, she was sweating, she panicked, and, this abandonment fear showed up again. And uncovered all of this, and she knew that. Why? Because therapy often focuses on the past. It brings up why things are the way they are, but it doesn't really give you real-time tools for challenging your behavior in the moment, at least not always. And that's what makes all the difference. Anxious attachment lives in your nervous system, not just in your thoughts. And sometimes, of course, therapy can give you thought tools like CBT tools, but it's again a whole new level to really challenge and rewire your nervous system for safety. So when your partner takes, let's say, again, hours to text you back, let's just give this example. Let's say when your partner takes hours to text you back, your brain isn't just thinking, what if they're losing interest? It's your body is reacting to that as well. Your heart is racing, your stomach is sinking, maybe you're sweating, maybe your mind is racing. It's like your body is reacting to that as well. It's not just your thoughts. That's not just a thought problem. That's a nervous system problem as well. In that moment, you're literally traveling back in time to the first time when this happened in your past. When you had this perceived fear of abandonment as a child, and you're not aware of this is all happening subconsciously. But that's why the trigger feels so strong in that moment. It's your body's reaction because it's remembering all of this what's happening in the past. That's why just the thought of it, I'm fine, I'm safe, is not enough to just know you're safe. And unless you learn how to calm your body and your mind in the moment, and all the therapy in the world won't stop that reaction. Hey you, if you're multitasking, come closer. Are you tired of obsessing over your texts from your partner? Are you constantly checking your phone every 5 minutes? Are you overthinking every message they send? Are you feeling abandoned when they don't text you back right away or take too much time to respond? Imagine feeling like this in 21 days. Calm when they're texting or when they don't text. No more anxious spirals. Knowing their silence really doesn't mean anything about your self-worth and that you're still safe. Watching your partner become more obsessed with you because of your new energy. That's exactly why I've created my mini course on text anxiety. The only one you'll ever need to learn how to stop obsessing over text in just 21 days or less. The first round of my beta course is open, so grab your spot before the price goes up. And let's transform your relationship anxiety one text at a time. How? Either find the link in my bio or jump over to my Instagram @themarriagecoach and comment under any of the posts the word text anxiety. So let's talk about what actually works, right? Healing your anxious attachment is a combination of things I'm teaching you very in depth in my one-on-one coaching, in my courses, but let me give you again a little glimpse of what it looks like. It's a combination of releasing emotions in healthy ways, processing your emotions, being with your emotions, allowing your emotions to be there, instead of pushing them away, instead of labeling them as good or bad, doing a body scan, being curious about your emotions. It also includes rewiring your subconscious beliefs of people will leave, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm only safe when I get reassurance, I'm only lovable when my partner pays attention to me. And then it's also a combination of learning to fulfill your own needs independently through lots of different sources, not just from your partner, through other sources, through hobbies, through friends, through lots of different ways. And these needs are usually unmet needs from your childhood. So again, awareness is key to knowing all of this, but again, then it takes the action and repetition to do that. And as I mentioned, practice then really secure actions daily. That is through learning to be uncomfortable with the emotions that come up and just be with those emotions anyway. It could be learning to speak up. It's just learning to self-soothe, learning to, fill your own cup yourself, learning to create more friendships instead of just focusing on your partner, learning to focus on hobbies, on long-term goals, to learn to realize, hey, you know what, I can be on my own, date yourself while you're in a relationship, all of these things that might seem scary, do gradual, tiny action steps every day. And this is exactly what I teach in my coaching, even more in depth, right? A little FYI, I always promise you an action step per episode. And today I really recommend grabbing my Anxious Attachment Master Guide. This is a new guide I've created with so much information, but very powerful, very easy digestible, with information that I would have really wanted like 5 years ago. It's all about attachment theory, anxious attachment style, how I healed my anxious attachment style. It's available for just €7, insanely cheap for what is at least worth €97. So inside I really break down not just the foundational pieces of attachment theory, but also really personal stories about my story, how I became secure, some of my frameworks, really like an introduction into them, myths that really keep you stuck, like attachment myths, questions and answers like that I get a lot of times from my clients or from people I see in this world that really will keep you stuck if you don't know the answers to them. 4 pieces that will kickstart your secure path in your journey, that we can create the start of your healing journey. And that's why I also right now only charge €7 because I don't want that there's any barrier for you to create your healing journey. I want that it's available for everyone, and I might increase the price soon or eventually, but right now I want everyone can afford this. It's not a course, I don't record anything, it's just a download so you can consume it very fast, you can skip to the parts that are important for you. And this master guide is really linked in the show notes. And this will give you all the answers to creating an anxiety-free relationship you need to really start your journey. And especially if you're not ready for coaching yet, or if you're shy, or if you just, love to have everything on one place as an overview. Yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned, it's 149 pages, I think. But anyway, this is really your chance to create safety from within with this one tool alone, with this one guide. Let me continue. I didn't go into years of therapy, by the way. I only had a very short introduction of therapy through CBT. It was more like a self-study course with, I think every 2 weeks we met over the phone with a therapist and we talked about my progress and stuff like that. And for me, it didn't shift much, to be honest. Not because the therapist was bad necessarily. It was more, first of all, I wasn't in the right headspace. I didn't understand what CBT was all about. I wasn't really explained the core concepts of it. And important to notice here, it wasn't really my fault, but it was kind of my responsibility at that time. And I would never blame the therapist really for that, because in the end, even if the therapist wasn't good or wasn't the right therapist for me, I should have taken the initiative to really speak up about what is not right in that moment and really address the issue. If your therapy isn't helping or your therapist isn't the right one for you, you really need to learn to speak up and say, what, can we adjust this? Or I don't feel like it's going into the right direction. It's really important. But I know looking back, I kind of felt guilty when I wasn't getting the result I wanted. And I felt like I was letting her down. Very typical people, pleasing behavior. And I think I see it sometimes in my clients too. So they're beating themselves up and they want to impress me, but it's not about me. It's not about, the person, the therapist. It's about you. So if there's something not working, it's your responsibility to speak up, to make adjustments, or even to leave the therapist or therapy if it's not helping for you. And another point, really huge, what I see, if you're not doing the work in between the sessions, that's a huge part as well. And another reason why you might not see the results in general as you might want to. Because the biggest transformation really happens in between the sessions, not in the sessions. It's like, I used to be a huge football fan in Germany, so I grew up in Bremen, and we have the football team Werder Bremen, and I used to go to training sessions to watch the players and train to see them, to see them train. Train is the word? Yeah, practice. To see their practice sessions. And again, coaching calls are like the big matches they have on the weekends. But doing the action steps in between the calls is just like how football players practice in between the matches. That's really where the big transformation happens, because everyday actions, when you practice everything, all the tools you've learned, that's when you become really good at everything. So if you skip all the practice sessions, all the practice steps, of course you can't create any transformation. You can't just show up at the match at the weekend and expect to score a goal, right? It's kind of the same thing. And that's why I love coaching so much, because that's when I created a huge transformation in my life. I was getting coached right away. I was in a membership, and it's very future orientated. It's very action orientated. It's about the future, but by applying tools in the present, in the moment. So now, does that mean therapy is never the answer? Definitely not. But therapy is essential, for example, if you have unresolved trauma that really needs deep processing. I would say you struggle with PTSD, clinical depression, or really, strong anxiety where you feel like you need help, you feel stuck, you feel like hopeless, and you need a safe space to explore your deep emotional wounds. And also, if you're in an abusive relationship or you feel unsafe, that's not the place for coaching, really. If you need someone who's like trauma informed. But if you are already in therapy for years and you still feel like things don't move, maybe it's time for a different approach. Maybe you also need a therapist and a coach. So before we're at the end, I just want to quickly summarize a few things, the key differences. So therapy really helps you with awareness, healing your past, helps you to get unstuck, especially with capital T traumas, right? Coaching helps you with really taking action, massive action, creating transformation. I've had clients come to me saying, therapy helped me understand myself, but I still don't know what to do every day. I still feel dysregulated and really hypervigilant when I'm around my partner, and I still really feel on edge a lot of times. And sometimes we're good and I don't know what to say, but as soon as I feel triggered, everything goes out of the window. And that's really where coaching comes in, like teaches you, I teach you my one-on-one coaching and my courses, really real-time skills, calming your nervous system in the real moment and long term, because it's like a muscle you build, give you, fast SOS tools you can apply in the moment, then also how to regulate your nervous system long term, because it's like going to the gym, repetition and action, like consistent action, you learn to feel safe from within. Also teach you how to shift anxious thoughts as they happen, to work with your subconscious mind, because that's the one driving 95% of your actions, like limiting beliefs. That's actually crazy if you think about that. Practicing also new behaviors and build habits so you actually become secure without the sabotage. And it's about rewiring your beliefs and your nervous system, really practicing new patterns and actually seeing results. Yeah, because the truth is, anxious attachment is not permanent, and that's so good. You can change it, and you just need the right tools. Again, we're not taught all of this stuff in school, and I don't know why, but just know, if you're listening to this, you can change your anxious attachment style if you want to. There's nothing wrong being anxiously attached or having anxious tendencies, but just know it's so possible to become more secure, and you don't have to be in this state forever. So just a few final bits and bobs for the end. If you've been in therapy but still feel anxious, it's not because you're broken. It's just might not be the right approach for you. It might be time to change something up. And if you're ready to stop talking about, your anxious attachment, and you're actually ready to change something and take action, I've got you. And here are a few things how we can work together. I have something I've never really talked about much, but I do offer 90-minute intensive one-on-one, VIP coaching calls where we talk about, your patterns and triggers and create a roadmap to heal your anxious attachment style. And I also follow up with you one more time at least to really check on how things are going and to make any adjustments. And this way you have really a step-by-step guide on what to do based on your triggers, what was sabotaging you, and you can know exactly, hey, these are my limited beliefs. This is how I can rewire my thoughts, my emotions, and my actions. This is super, super powerful. Also, you can use this 90-minute VIP call for an SOS emergency session if you have a specific trigger or situation you want to talk through and get my help, or if you just want to learn a specific skill, like learning how to self-soothe, to process your emotions, if you want to learn to work through a trigger with my methods, anything like this can be also discussed on this 90-minute VIP coaching call. Again, it's your time. You just want to let me know what is your idea, or we can hop on a call beforehand. We could talk together on what your plan is, your goal, your challenges, and that can be all discussed. And links are in the show notes if you're curious for that. Again, I also have self-paced courses. For example, the Stop Overthinking course, the Stop Obsessing Over Text in 21 Days course. Super affordable right now because they're still on the beta round, meaning it's the first round, so it's still affordable. Or just hop on a call with me to see if you want to apply for the bigger one-on-one coaching programs with me. For example, I have a 10-week one-on-one coaching experience where we, transform your anxious attachment style more. Anyway, everything is linked in the show notes. I'm so happy to help you shift into secure patterns. I've really been there, and I didn't know anything about attachment theory. I didn't even know it existed. It would have meant the world for me to have anyone to really talk about this. Yeah. And I want to be the person for you. So don't feel shy to just reach out to me with anything. Healing isn't just about, knowing the problem. It's about taking action. So let's make this happen. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Remember, change in your relationship starts with you. Thought by thought, action by action, and now episode by episode. If you love this episode and want to give me a virtual high five, please give me a 5-star rating wherever you're listening from. It really helps me to boost this podcast a little bit higher in the ranking so I can help even more people just like you. And even share it with one more person you think would really benefit from this episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.